Corey, what's going on with Sean Bain Jr.? He wasn't out there with a helmet today.
Yeah, just a little minor stuff. We're just being smart with that. Nothing crazy though. We're just being smart. Those fast twitch guys, you got to be careful. So, no, he'll be fine.
How important is this road game in terms of setting up a routine for these guys when you guys in the regular season are on the road?
Yeah, exactly that, right? Britain, it's understand we kind of got a little taste of it, last even though we were a home game, we ended up traveling on the bus, but now we get to hop on a plane and kind of get in the routine of what that looks like for us during the season, and then let these guys, kind of figure out what their routines look like when we do end up hitting road games. So it is good for that standpoint.
When it comes to these two teams, you guys play each other week one after this preseason game, so is it kind of pretty basic playbook expected so you don't show anything?
Yeah, I think that's probably most, teams do it regardless of who the opponent is, but also that allows us to know that the guys, definitely know the basics of the playbooks. It allows them to play fast and gives us a good chance to evaluate what they look like on game day.
What have your thoughts been on Stephen Smith?
Sorry?
What have your thoughts been on Stephen Smith?
Stephen Smith ran down there, made a couple tackles last game, man. It was awesome to get him in front of his family. I think he said he had 17 people out there. He took a shot in the face, on special teams with some of the big boys, but he loved that. So that's excellent to see, man. Really happy, and he's been attacking this thing like a pro. Coaches, we get in there usually before everybody. Steven's already there on the iPad looking at film. Even if he's not in there. If you guys take a peek when he's not in the rep, he's getting the rep on the sideline. He's working exactly his position. So he does everything from a professional standpoint. You love to see him go out there and make plays when he gets the opportunity.
What's the plan or outlook for Braden Lennius?
He's just still trying to nurse him back to health. We don't want to rush the guy back, but he was just dealing with some things that was, he had issues with prior, but he's attacking to rehab him, and we'll be happy to have him when he gets back.
Speaking of playing in front of family, Joe talked about having family in the stands last week. Now he's going back to Edmonton, the place he hasn't been since high school. What are you excited to see from him, kind of almost like in a home sense for him, and in a second preseason game, given his performance in week one?
Yeah, for him, it's just, you can't be a one-trick pony, at the professional level. So, I was really happy with him in the game that he had last week, but he's got to level up this week, potentially more on his plate. So it's exactly that, just understanding, professional football consistency is what we're looking for. So we'll see what he can do.
Corey, to have two receivers in Sean Bain and Sam Emelis who had such breakout seasons last year, what are you looking in terms of those guys looking to elevate their game and continue what they were able to build last season as number one and number two wide receivers?
Yeah, I think certainly, and you go past those, we got some ball players at that position, but for those guys, I think, we all know they can catch the ball. The intangibles, when I spoke to them, when I first got the job, was are you going to be accountable when you're not asked to catch the ball, doing all the extra things and blocking them, not only receivers but coming down tight and blocking in the box, or DBs, but coming down tight and blocking in the box, and in practice and stuff they've shown to do that. Been very pleased with how they've approached that from that standpoint, and we all know what it looks like when they get the ball in their hands. So Noah Mules, he's no fool. He knows, the guys who can create yak yards and stuff like that. So I'm really excited to see them grow as professionals from last year's performance into what they look like this year to be a more even complete player.
In comparison to last week's game against Winnipeg, is there anything in particular that you're going to be looking for differently against Edmonton, or is it more the same things that you're doing?
Yeah, more of the same stuff, to be honest with you. If there is a little bit heavier of a playbook and different packages or stuff like that, just seeing how these guys adjust, and then different kind of from offensive standpoint, may see a different kind of defense than you saw week one, and then from a defensive standpoint, you might not see exactly the same stuff that Winnipeg showed on offense. So for that, just how do they adjust? Because a lot of the calls might be similar, but whatever the offense does dictates to how you respond to that. So more along those lines to see how they react to what we get.
When you were laying out your plans and process for training camp prior to arriving in Saskatoon, if I said, hey, this is where you're going to be at on Thursday heading into your second preseason game, would you be happy with where you're at right now? Is things done according to your plan?
Yeah, this is the best part about football, and I think maybe in all pro sports, but just in my experience in football, it's great you have a plan, but there's always going to be adjustments, and we've certainly had to adjust, the structure of practice. And for example, today I didn't have them in pads, but I feel like we just didn't really have enough practices in pads, and I think the guys were kind of itching for it. So we put them on today, even though we're a couple days out from the game. And really, that just a test. Can we get a good physical practice while also being smart as a professional? And I thought we did that for the most part. So I was pleased with today's practice.
Unscripted moments of joy are pretty cool. And when Eli Hetlinger completed that pass, that was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah. So I got to talk to Trev. For whatever reason, his nickname is Jimmy. So everybody would say Jimmy. He completed the dig there to Mario, and it was a really cool experience for him. And I made him break the team down today. So really happy. Good for the moment for the kid. But he's been dialed this whole time. And his number was called, and I know he didn't expect it. And he walked up in there and he rifled one. So it was elation for the offense. And it put a smile on my face. So I was happy for him.
Corey, with the pads on today, were you able to get some good information or insights into the left tackle situation, or a little bit more anyway?
Yeah, I mean, some of that's going to be into the evaluation as well, right? When you want to see the pads on, there are certain positions that we do want to take a peek at, and that definitely being one of them. We've mixed it up the rotation a little bit at that spot. So yes, to be able to see that today, Rob. But ultimately, when the Bulls are flying full go, that'll be a real tell.
How curious are you to see Brammer, especially moving over to the left side?
Yeah, no, I mean, if you cut the tape from the Winnipeg game, I mean, he was playing, hair on fire. He was playing physical, and certainly now, he's going to be able to swing a little bit for us. And see what he can do potentially here on the left side. So can you handle it, and understand the playbook and what happens when you end up having to move spots, and then can you keep the same intensity level? Because from that standpoint, he was excellent.
What does Godfrey Onyeka bring? I mean, he's such a solid guy in addition to what he brings on the field.
Yeah, no, I think obviously a veteran, certainly one of the leaders on the special teams unit, but, we've been giving him quite some run here on the defensive side of the ball, and he's been holding his own back there, and he's got to make communications and things like that. I've been pleased from that standpoint. If he does end up having to get in the game on defense, we have to have confidence that he can be able to execute and communicate back there. So we've been stressing that. He's doing a pretty good job.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Coach.